Today on Studio 103, pro wrestling is a global phenomenon that spreads across nations and cultures, men, women, young, and old. But what does it take to break into the world of wrestling as entertainment? We go one-on-one with a special, unique character as Studio 103 starts right now. Welcome to episode number 6 of Studio 103. I'm Michael Nieves, and today we have a very fun conversation with a special guest from the world of pro wrestling. Our own student producer, Daniel Kasambalis, goes one-on-one with a pro wrestler that he watched since he was just a little kid. Here's his conversation with the Caveman.
Thank you, that's right. Today, I'm sitting here with Jose Camacho, better known as Caveman or CMC.
That's right, Daniel. I appreciate you having me here with you guys. This is such a cool opportunity to be able to participate in this big event right here, this interview.
I've been a fan my whole life. It's awesome to have you here. I've known you since I was probably like 5 or 6 years old.
Dude, I think I've known you legit probably my whole wrestling career.
How long
you
have
and
you
your
been
family.
For?
What has it been 12 years now?
12 years.
We could probably say like 10 because of COVID, took away some of the time. So I'll say inside the ring regularly 10 years indeed. But like I said, I've known you my whole career. I've known your family, your dad, your mom, your brothers. I've seen you guys at a bunch of different shows still to this day. And to be able to do this interview with you here, and I was told that this was your first time doing one too.
Yeah, this is my first interview.
This is so cool. I feel really honored to be the first person you decide to interview, man. Thank you again, Dad.
I don't have any other choice. All right, so you said that you've been wrestling for 12 years. Do you remember how old you were when you first gained an interest in wrestling?
Oh, man, I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. The first episode of SmackDown on UPN years ago. I didn't really have cable growing up, so I couldn't watch Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
But Channel 9, UPM, seeing The Rock and Stone Cold, those characters were the guys that really captivated me to be like, I really want to give this a try.
So, but was there a specific moment that you were like, what if I tried this out? And like, did their characters influence like how you evolved into your character? Because I always knew you as Caveman. You have multiple other characters, but...
That's true. Let's see how I can put that. The way that I use the influence, before all the wrestling moves and all that, I was always big into the acting of it. The way The Rock acted, the way Stone Cold shook his head, and even Shawn Michaels dancing his way to the ring. Those were the kind of things that really captivated me before I started seeing suplexes and slams and all that. So being able to be a character like Caveman, where everything is just ooga booga, picking the bugs out the hair, putting silly faces on, it was always easy to gravitate towards that acting aspect. Just doing the athletic stuff and slamming people and all that. That's where I really had to learn,
That was always one of my favorite parts. Like watching you as a kid, like there were these other great wrestlers, but then I'm like, he's fun to talk to. Like you're going around. I remember I had, instead of signing an autograph, I had you leave a bite mark in it. It was great.
Those were great days.
So when you started out, do you remember like how you started, like who trained you?
Oh man, I started out back in 2011 in the Bronx Wrestling Federation around the Bronx River area. Bronco International was my original mentor, and the people that were inside the ring with me were Mike Hazardous and AC Smooth. These were 2 veteran guys who's been doing this for a long time. They were the ones that were slamming me around and turning me into the wrestler that I was, but Bronco was the guy that was responsible for teaching me how the business actually worked, you know what I mean?
Was Bronco rough on you? Because I remember seeing him as a kid. His biceps were probably like this big.
Dude, training with Bronco, like just taking shoulder tackles and clotheslines from him, was like running into a brick wall. That guy is strong, solid, and serious about the way he takes the business of professional wrestling, and I appreciate him very much. Muchas gracias, Bronco, por darme la oportunidad. Thank you.
It was awesome always seeing you two together. And I remember, so obviously, like you said, you started at BWF. That's where I know you from. But like, I always remember you, how this interview came about is because I I got asked a question about my Super Savages bracelet, where you used to wrestle with Montekia. I still have it on.
Look at
Like,
that.
you used to
still
wrestle with Montekia.
represented. Jesus, this is amazing. This brings back so many great memories, man. We had a lot of great matches, great tag team stories. We were doing it for a long time, but again, COVID really hit.
Yeah.
Stopped a lot of things. He stopped for a while. I stopped for a while. Everybody decided to go their own routes with the wrestling, but I'm still happy that we are still wrestling.
Yes.
You know, and to see this brings back a lot of memories. Monte, we need to do it one more time, brother.
Monte,
One more.
seeing him wrestle again, seeing you at the show with him, that was awesome.
Oh, at the last House of Glory show, that was really, really beautiful. To have you guys pop out that picture and have me sign it, that was really,
Seeing both
really
of you,
cool,
I saw
man.
him there, and he saw this bracelet, and he just got so happy. Like, I could see the smile under his mask. Like, he gave me, not only he gave me a free bracelet,
Nice.
but I also have one of, that's inside out. I still have one of
Butterman.
your old bracelets.
The Butterman.
This thing is
Yes.
falling apart now.
Yo, this is for many years, and you took good care, ladies and gentlemen. Montekia and Caveman, the Super Savages, right here on the wrists of Daniel. You hold on to our power.
No, so you said the bracelets brought a lot of good memories back. I know I always loved seeing you at BWF. There were a bunch of other great people there.
Yes.
I know
yes.
some other stars came from there, even like Mike Santana.
Oh, dude, that guy right now, seeing the
Now
merger
he's
with
blown
TNA and NXT right
Yeah.
now, he's one of the guys I'm looking forward to seeing that opportunity at NXT,
It's always-
dude. Like, even seeing him at the last Hog show against
Seeing him
Kenta.
at HOG is always awesome.
Amazing.
And now he's going to be on TV all the time.
Amazing, man. Literally, that guy was like the first dude I've ever stepped inside the ring with, you know, to actually think about it. When I
Nice.
first got into the ring at BWF, I had to put my mom on the phone to talk with Bronco for 45 minutes to allow me to start
To allow
training.
you to train.
Yeah, legit. She was just like, I need to speak to this man. I want to know what's going to happen to you because I don't want you to come home hurt. And 45 minutes later, he's like, I spoke with your mom. Go ahead and jump in the ring, start training. We'll make this happen. And Mike Santana was the person who gave me a pile driver as my first move. I didn't know what to do.
Your first move being a pile driver.
Legit. All I told him was, I want to be the kind of wrestler that takes all the moves. And he looked at his friends and then looked back at me, kicked me in the stomach, pile drove me, and then I stood up and I was like, what just happened? Like, it was
What's your
nuts.
first experience of wrestling?
Legit, it was, man. It was.
But speaking of BWF, I have two small gifts. I have some extremely
What?
old cards.
Why do you see this? There's two different photos of me on this old school flyer. Oh, it has different backgrounds, guys. Do you see this? This is from like, I don't even know what year. Doesn't even
Doesn't
have
even
the year.
have a year.
But dude, these were the days. Rufus is
I used
right
to find
here.
these in the pizzerias by my house. These would be
Yes.
everywhere. The comic book store.
Yes, believe it or not, one of the ways that I had discovered BWF was when I was walking around the area, I was just looking down on the ground at my shoelaces to see if they were untied, and one of these were on the ground.
Yeah, because from the outside it just looks like a regular little factory. Then you go and there's a gym inside, and then there's just a wrestling ring.
Legit, in the back, legit, man. Look at Monte with his old gear.
That is Monte.
That's legit.
My
old
dad
school
wanted
Monte
me to
with
ask you. That is Monte.
Yes, that is legit Monte with his first gear ever, man. Máscara Celestial, and believe it or not, that's Sebastian Cage under a mask. That's what he
That-
had his shirt on.
Yes, I
earlier.
had
That's
Sebastian
legit.
Cage.
Yo, the lit superstar. He's wearing your shirt under that hoodie. You don't even know, bro. But man, this is really, really cool, Daniel. I'm super
The amount
excited
of
you brought it
great
back.
people that came out of BWF.
Dude, Bronco, Georgie, rest in peace, man. Rufus, Frankie Flo. There's a lot of great talent right here, man. You brought it back. Oh, man, I feel young
I had
again.
to. My dad, he was like, I have things for you to give him. Gifts, autographs, everything.
Dude, that is amazing. Thank you, Dimitri. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Always been fans, always going to be fans. It's always great seeing you. Even now, we see you all the time at shows. Like, so you say you've been wrestling for around 10 years. When you're at shows, is how you watch wrestling different now, or is it still like you're a little kid sitting there watching these two guys in the ring beat each other?
So I'm not gonna lie, being a part of the business helps you learn how wrestling works inside and outside the ring. And when you watch moves and way things get done, your brain starts noticing you're watching and more of a student of the game instead of just being a fan. And there's times where I forget that.
Yeah.
You know, there's times that I'll watch a match and I'm like, ooh, they did that a little funny, or that looked a little strange. And then there's times like Mike Santana versus Kenta at Hog.
That match
I
was
was
incredible.
just a big kid because Santana was someone who always used to tell me years ago when I used to hang out with him, one day I'm going to beat up Naomichi Marufuji or Kenta. One of them is going to get it one day. And years later, Kenta ended up getting
I've seen
it.
him wrestling. Kenta, I've seen him wrestling. I think he wrestled Pentagon
Yes, he's got
at
an
HOG,
opportunity.
and now Penta's in WWE now.
That's amazing. That needs to happen down the line. Santana and Penta at WWE, that has to happen down the line. But yeah, man, that's really, really something special right now, dude.
Yeah,
it
so-
really is.
You've had 12 years of experience doing this. How long have you been training other people to wrestle? Because I know you've trained people to wrestle at multiple different schools.
That's very, very true. Man, I probably want to say almost half of my career. For like 2 years, I did a lot of the stuff on my own, learning from Bronco and learning from AC Smooth and Mike Larquente. But there were times when I would go every day and my trainers weren't there. I would be the one teaching the fundamentals to the new guys that was coming in. And at that time, I got accustomed to coaching and teaching people and helping everybody out so much. When I got a chance to go to House of Glory, I did the same thing with Monte on the side while Red was working before he arrived. We would help run some of the classes, do some stuff, and then years later, we opened up the World Wrestling Extreme in the Bronx.
Yep.
We was able to bring in a bunch of brand new people who wanted to make their dream of being a professional wrestler come true, and I was happy that I was able to help them start their career and making that happen.
I went to one show for World Wrestling Extreme, and it was incredible. Some of the students there are incredible. And I've seen them at other shows too, like Isaac Wayne, he's great. Max Capacity. There's this kid, we went outside one day just to stop by so I could take a picture. He's like, hey, you want to join the wrestling school? It was Justice Avenger.
Okay.
How old is he?
LK is literally super young. I think
He
he
can't
just
be
turned
more than like 18, 19.
I think he just turned 18 or 19 years old. Legit. He had told me he had to fight with his mom and dad to say that at the moment I finish high school, I want to go live my dream of being a professional wrestler. And it's mind blowing because I had the exact same thing with my parents. My mom told me, if you want to go do whatever you want, just finish high school for me and you can do it. And it's funny enough, Bronx Wrestling Federation was just a couple of blocks from my high school because I went to Monroe High School right up the block. So it was really, really mind blowing to have that all fall into place and seeing these kids take that same route. Period 8 ends in 5 minutes.
All right,
Indeed.
the bell's gonna ring in
but
5
seeing
minutes.
those guys follow the same kind of footsteps really shows me like wrestling can be pretty much for everyone. It literally can be.
So-
it can even be for you too, man.
Yeah, I've considered it multiple times. It's a struggle sometimes.
You
But
don't have to take no slams. If you got to be a manager out there and you want to tell this guy, my client, such and such, that'll be super new.
Elijah, what was that? Nah, but so is there any way that if you had to recommend, so like you said, Justice Avenger, he just like turned 18, he just got out of high school before he started wrestling. So is there a way that, I know that there's a wrestling club at this school, more like, I think it's called amateur wrestling, like actual wrestling. And I know there's been wrestlers such as Brando Lee, he's come out of the wrestling club in this school. So
What? That's super cool.
So if
Young Glory.
he used to be in this media class
That
way
is
before I was
nuts.
here.
Brando, where you at, brother? You should be here with us right now, man. That's super cool. I had no idea. The Young Glory was representing the media team of Truman. That's really freaking cool,
So
man.
how would say a high school student, if they had the dreams of becoming a pro wrestler, how would you recommend that they start?
Well, first and foremost, finish school. Definitely get that out of the way just in case to be safer than sorry. There's not always glory in the business of professional wrestling. When you first start, you got to bust your butt. You got to stay humble. You got to stay hungry. You know, there's people who are always going to tell you there's a possibility you'll make it. There's a possibility you won't, but you got to stay strong at all times. And if you're motivated and you're a huge fan, nothing's going to make you want to give up. And LK is one of them where he's such a small person. A lot of people would think, oh, this guy's not going to make it. Even you said it. He looks so
Yeah.
young. He looks so small.
so young.
But watching him do springboards and flips and
incredible
all
in
that,
the
he's
ring.
super, super good. And I feel like you give him the next 10 years, he might be on television himself. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I've always loved more like high-flying acrobatics in wrestling, like especially Mexican lucha libre wrestling.
I agree.
It's always been my favorite. That's why I like BWF, because there was such a diversity of like different wrestling styles.
I agree.
It's not like just punch each other. No, especially like at HOG. Amazing Red, he has to be one of the best high flyers I know. I was showing my friend a video yesterday,
Dude, Amazing Red is responsible for a lot of the reasons why I got over my fears of doing things off the top rope, over the top rope to the outside. The one thing that I just remembered about my high flying coach was we went to Six Flags one time. We got on El Toro and we was at the top and he had his eyes closed holding on to the thing so long. I was like, so much for being a high flyer. Yeah. That was a great time though. That was literally a great time still.
No, it seems great. Like, you've always had a great relationship with all the wrestlers. As much as I've seen, like, at BWF, I always saw you were out with the fans, with the wrestlers. They would sit next to us.
Even in character, I'll be out there giving out the wristbands, two
I never saw you out of character at BWF except behind the curtain.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Once you go through that curtain, you got to stay devoted. You got to be in character. There's times that you may get surprised by certain fans who are going to catch you off guard. They'll be like, wait a minute. And then, ooga booga. You know what I mean? But yeah, I always do my best to try to stay in character, whether I'm the Caveman or the self-proclaimed Prince of New York, CMC.
Prince of New York.
Yeah.
So we were talking about how you do a bunch of high-flying moves. Is there, if you had to think, have you gotten injured from doing high-flying moves, like during a match, not just while training?
Now, I can say one time at a match in BWF, there was a fatal four-way match. I believe it was me versus Josh Glide versus Chris Omega and Anthony Silva. And we were trying to work where Josh Glide did a swanton bomb and Caveman did a monkey see, monkey do. I jumped off on the opposite side for a swanton and my foot hit the pipe at the top and literally just swollen like my heel for the rest of the night and the next day. And I was barefoot at the time, so that definitely didn't help either. That didn't help either, so I could say that was probably literally like a weird freak accident, hitting a pipe and injuring my leg like that.
I remember seeing at BWF someone jumps off the top rope and like they knocked out a light bulb up there.
Oh my God.
Like, that has to be one of my most vivid memories. My mom's like, I hate it here.
I'm sure Bronco was upset, like, you broke my lights, you broke my lights.
But, so in your 12 years, at least 12 years now, do you have like a specific like favorite moment or match, even just a favorite person to work with?
Oh man, one of my favorite people to always got a chance to work with and train with coming up in the past was always Monte. Definitely, the chemistry and the flow that we had was like none other. Getting a chance to work with the guys that I have nowadays at my school, believe it or not, a big fan of working with somebody by the name of AB, Antonio Bernard. I'm not sure if you got a chance to see him yet. And Mark Mayhem actually is another person.
Mayhem, he was also really good.
Really good in the ring. I've gotten a chance to train with him a few times and pull off some really cool stuff, but never got a chance to showcase my skills with him in a match, you know? And last but not least, I think one of my favorite people to always work with in that school, the Rockstar.
Joey Sins?
Joey Sins. We were having a big rivalry going down. It was going to be involving some Super Show cards, which is actually something I got to show you, because I got something special to give you, actually, believe it or not. These are very special edition Caveman and CMC Super Show cards of the #1 pro wrestling card game in the world. You know, oh, there goes the bell.
There goes the bell.
but yeah, man, I figured I had to bring those. You got 2 gifts for me. Yeah. I got 2 gifts for you,
my
man.
dad's gonna love these. You know my dad loves collecting.
Of course.
This is especially that you have both characters.
Legit. And down the line, I'll bring you a starter box set. I'll teach you how to play so that you can also become a champion in the #1 pro wrestling card game, man.
So
legit.
That's one extra gift that I have for you. My dad had to put something together.
Wait a minute.
This is a Photoshop project that he did. This is a mock-up of it, of all your characters. One of which, interesting, but we don't talk about that one right now.
Yeah, no, we've got the Vegetable Man.
The Vegetable Man.
CMC and Caveman all together representing WWX. Ladies and gentlemen, this is really cool right here. I have to sign this, don't I? Is this for me or
this one is a gift for you?
No way.
Next time we see you, we do have another one. The background is a spray-painted Puerto Rican flag.
That's dope. Oh, man, thank you so much for this, Dan. Thank you so much, Dimitri. I appreciate you, man. I really do. This is dope. Oh, man, that's too cool, Daniel. That is too cool.
But We'll always enjoy seeing you at every single show,
Anytime.
especially all the gifts. You're always like willing to sign. Like, I've gone up to wrestlers, signed like hundreds of things. They're like, "You're back again. You're back again." You're always like, "Oh, I'll sign it. I got you. No problem." You're like, "You want me to bite the paper?"
I'll buy it. I'll leave the imprint mark, something just to make it memorable, man. I don't mind it. I love always giving the fans a great time, something to remember where they know they're going to go home with a smile on their faces. Yeah, I know there's a lot of wrestlers sometimes that meet a bunch of people and they're like, all right, I'm kind of getting tired of this. But at the end of the day, this is what we signed up for. And the people who come to pay to watch us are enjoying this. So why not give them something memorable?
It's your job. Might as well enjoy doing it.
Indeed.
But now that we're reaching close to it, is there anything that you want to promote? Like any like businesses, anyone you want to give a shout out to that we haven't already mentioned?
Of course, man. I definitely like to give a big shout out to my business partner, Miss Lori Bolt. She helps me run the mobile gimmick, which is pretty much like a LinkedIn for pro wrestling that we're creating. So it's going to help a lot of people in the business of independent wrestling make money. Whether you're a referee, ring announcer, a promoter, a wrestler, you'll be able to get opportunities. And with that, we're also going to be helping people get bookings and other shows so they can showcase their talent and let them spread their wings and become actual independent wrestlers around the entire nation. So shout out, make sure you guys follow the mobile gimmick on Instagram, follow Ms. Bolt on Instagram as well. Keep an eye out for more WWX stuff in the near future. Make sure you keep an eye out for Dan, who's going to be at all the wrestling shows with us. He's always popping up with his family, which is super cool. And last but not least, make sure you guys follow World Wrestling Extreme on the YouTube. Follow CMC, Prehistoric Savage CMC on the Instagram. And also just Jose Camacho on Facebook if you guys want to follow as well, man.
Thank you so much for this. It's been awesome having you here.
This was way too cool, Dan.
Can't wait to see you at pretty much every other show.
Of course, we're going to be
there. No matter
there.
where we go, you're always there, even little shows in Brooklyn.
Definitely. I got to put you on to the One Division Pro shows. Those are really, really nice. I'm going to bring you to the next one. You're definitely going to get, I might have you do some interviews to some of those guys. Who knows? You know? But thank you for having me, Dan. This was super, super cool, man.
It's always awesome seeing you.
It really was.
Thank you so much for coming here today. It's been awesome seeing you again. Can't wait to see you again next time. That's all the time that we have today with the Caveman. Thanks for watching. Back to you.
That's all we have for episode 6 of Studio 103. Remember, we want you to get involved just like Daniel did. If you have an idea for a segment, come visit us in Studio 103 on the first floor and scan the QR code on your screen. I'm Michael Nieves, and we will see you here next time.